What's happening, everybody? J Legend here. I wanted to give my 2 cents about Street Fighter X Tekken, and this is pretty much stemming from an interview I saw that was featuring DIEMINION, and he was pretty much saying about how people aren't really giving Street Fighter X Tekken a chance, and people are only hating on the game because other people are hating on the game. Which, for kind of the most part, that's actually true. But it's way more than that. It's more than just like, oh man, would you play Street Fighter X Tekken? I don't play that shit. And then it's like, oh yeah, well, I don't play it either. It's more than just that. I mean, like, the real reason people don't really like or play the game is because, well, of course now we have the patch, everything's fixed, everybody is unlocked and stuff like that. That's cool. That's fine. But see, the fact of the matter is, like, let's turn the clocks back to 2009. Of course, Street Fighter 4 had came out. And they wanted to see how the initial reaction was for everyone that was interested in the game. Everybody played it. And then Capcom was like, okay, well, let's update the game, add an extra word to it, and patch it up. Super Street Fighter 4, right? Now, this, of course, became an oncurring thing because they did the same thing with Marvel, had Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and then added an extra word to it, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, added some new stages, some other characters, and now we're at Ultimate Marvel right now. So it just got to a point to people where we got tired of how they were just handling everything. The problem with Street Fighter X Tekken is that it was released way too soon. It was rushed. They just threw it out there, and there was just so many problems that people wasn't really trying to, deal with it. Like, and in the tournament scene also, like, why it just didn't seem really all that necessary to watch people play it, because you would just see the same teams all the time. We only had, when the game first came out, we only had like X amount of characters, and you would always see Ryu, Lento, Hugo, Kazuya, or Kazuya, or however you say his name, Heihachi, Poison. We will only see like a handful of teams that will always have the same characters, and that is actually kind of boring, to be honest. So it's like this game was like severely incomplete. You couldn't really play online. There were no the sound effects were off. The music would glitch out. There were glitches right and left. There were infinites right and left. The little cats had an infinite. Kazuya, no, it wasn't Kazuya. Jin had not an infinite. Kazuya had an infinite. Jin had a glitch, and there was just glitches right and left about the game, and it just turned a lot of people off about the game. And with Capcom, they had all these cross games before, Marvel vs. Capcom. Street Fighter versus X-Men, Street Fighter versus Marvel superheroes, and like all these cross type of games. They released all the characters, and then for Street Fighter X Tekken, they want to just release some characters and not all of them. Why? What kind of sense is that? Like, you could be a Cody player in like Street Fighter 4, Super Street Fighter 4, and release Cody. You're happy that Cody's in the game, and now Street Fighter Cross Tekken is out, and then they lock Cody away all over again? What kind of sense is that? Why don't you just release him? It's just all these things that turn people off of the game, and so. And of course, even like Dominion said, there was a lot of dumb stuff in the game prior to the patch they put out now. So, it turned a lot of people off, and like, I'm not playing this game. This game is silly, it's strange, it's stupid, and it's basically like Street Fighter, Tekken Tag, and Marvel superheroes all rolled into one. Of course, with the gym system and stuff like that. So it it was really just all incomplete. There was everything was kind of wrong with it, and it just didn't seem, you know, worth the time, worth anybody's time at the, you know, at the time. Now there are people that like playing it, they're playing the game. There's people that like going, that people that play the game in tournaments and stuff like that. And in tournaments they don't play with gyms, which I'm grateful for, because I'm not really too hot about the gym system. But everyone does it online, which I'm not mad at. I mean, they can make the game any way that they want. I mean, there are people that play the game, the people that are good at the game. I'm not mad at that at all. You know, it's just that it just did not catch on because there were just so many things wrong with the game itself. Here's a perfect example. This is the second game in a row Capcom had released that had a time over problem. A time over problem. Marvel 3 had a time over problem at first. And I remember sitting here and listening to Seth Killian being interviewed about the game while watching people play the game. Like, oh yeah, we have there's been a lot of time overs. We're gonna fix that, and they did. That's probably like one of the first things they did when they went to fix the game all over again. They fixed the hell out of that problem when it was on Marvel. Why didn't they fix the time over problem in Street Fighter Cross Tekken? It's like they just didn't even bother to do it. And so I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, well, if I was with Capcom, if I was employed with Capcom right now, what I would have done for the time over problem was automatic Pandora. Just leave the clock the way it is at 99. When it counts 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, automatic Pandora. And what would happen is, let's say your team is Guile and Cammy. All right, you have Guile and Cammy. Guile's out there on the screen right now. You're throwing sonic booms, flash kicks, whatever. 3, 2, 1, 0. And let's say Guile is at 50% health and Cammy is at 100%. Automatic Pandora. Guile dies. Guile is sacrificed, or whatever, however you want to call it. And all his life bar combines with Cammy's, and now Cammy is now at 150% life, and she has both those bars at the top of the screen. Both bars are still there, and now all that life now belongs to Cammy, and now she's all powered up with no timer. And the same thing happens to the other team's players, and now you're both Pandora, and now that's when the real match begins. Simple answer. You know, simple fix. Okay, you can't, you know what I mean? I'll just take away, you can't Pandora whenever you want to. You Pandora when the time runs out. Now, it may be a good idea to some may like it, some may not like it. I don't know. You can't please everybody. I mean, that's always the thing. That's just what I would do. That would be my idea for the time over problem in Street Fighter Cross Tekken. But I'm not about to sit here and bash Capcom for this whole thing. I mean, because props to Capcom for releasing Street Fighter 4, for releasing Marvel 3, and everything like that, and props to them for attempting to make another cross game with Tekken. Okay, now it may not have been kind of the best idea, because like I remember seeing the press conference with Ono, and then Harada came out of nowhere, and then like, oh, I'll challenge you to a match, and then whatever, and I'm like sitting there like, these two are fools. And then like the lights went out, and I'm like, what are they doing? And then all of a sudden you see Ryu versus Kazuya, and I was like, oh man, it's going to be Street Fighter versus Tekken, or Capcom versus Namco, something like that, right? So you know that, I mean, like, the game itself wasn't all that bad of an idea. I take that back. The game itself wasn't a bad idea. It just was released way too soon. All they had to do was just push the deadline back to where they could properly make the game, build the game, test the game, weed out all the bugs and all that type of stuff. They could, and then release it, and then patch it up if necessary, which probably would be anyway. That's just why people don't really like the game, because it was just way too broken. It was just way too over the top with a whole bunch of stuff that people thought that we didn't need. Like, we didn't need all these glitches and stuff like that, and then, you know, the gems, the sound, and all that stuff. It was just, I guess it was just too much for people. So they just were like, you know what, fuck this game, I don't want to deal with it. At first, I didn't want to buy it, you know what I mean? I was just like, man, screw this game, man. I'm seeing, like, footage on YouTube, people have so many gripes against the game. Like, alright, man, like, it's turning me off severely. I don't even want to bother with this game. So now, there's a patch. The patch is out. That's supposedly fixed. I guess everything. I don't know if it's everything. I don't know. But and released all the rest of the characters. Finally, that's good. So you know yes, Capcom has been listening to the fans. I will give them that. It's just that before all this patch went down, there was just too much stuff to deal with to really consider this game to really just go out and play. Now they do have good modes to where you can play with another friend of yours, and then you have all four characters on the screen fighting each other. That looks fun like a mug. I ain't gonna lie, but like the overall just kind of thinking about the game, it was just too much for people to deal with. So they was just like, man, fuck this game entirely, man. That's why nobody wanted to play it. That's why nobody wanted to deal with it. You know what I mean? That's why people wasn't giving this game a second thought at first. But since this new patch is out, let's try, I guess, let's just be patient and let's play the game and let's learn about it and let's see what people think now that they supposedly fixed it. They may put out another patch later on. I don't know. Who knows? We'll find out. But that's all it really was, man. That's why people didn't want to play the game. That's why people were bad-mouthing the game. That's why people were giving bad reviews and kind of cursing the game down and like using it as a coaster at parties and stuff like that. You know? But I mean, I could give Street Fighter Cross Tekken another chance. It's just like I just didn't before because there was just way too many problems. And I'm sure there was a lot of people that felt the same way once it came out. So that's just my 2 cents about the whole thing, about the game right now. So this is Jay Legend. I'll check you out later. Peace out.
Game on, baby.